The whole class of 42 transmigrated into a survival game. 41 girls, and I'm the only guy. I thought I'd started a harem power fantasy script, but instead they pushed me to be the driver and made me take on 2 zombies alone, saying, "You're the guy. If you don't go, who will?" Even more absurdly, my childhood sweetheart awakened an S-rank physique and punched a zombie's head clean off. Meanwhile, the talent I drew lets me get supplies just by lying down and checking in every day. Guys, this survival game. How come it feels easier than going to work? As the system prompt exploded in my ears, my mind went completely blank. A nationwide bus survival game? Monsters chasing us? We start off with 42 people crammed onto a beat-up bus? Gu Pingsheng, class monitor of Class 2, Grade 25, preschool education major at Shenzhen University, was sitting blankly in the driver's seat. To my right in the passenger seat, my childhood sweetheart Liu Xiaofang sat with her legs crossed, her delicate face full of confusion. "Pingsheng, what the hell is going on?" She grabbed my arm instinctively. Behind us, it was total chaos. "Where are my pants?" "I was just in the restroom." "Jessen, hurry up and pull your pants up. There's a bathroom in the back. Go!" The screams of 41 girls nearly blew the roof off the bus. That's right. Everyone in the class except me is a girl. When I picked this major, I thought it sounded great. Now though, I glanced around. This crappy bus had a pitifully bare interior, 4 rows of seats crammed full. Bus number 15200. Please select the bus driver. Each player will silently decide on a candidate, confirmed in 3 seconds. The moment the notification sounded, a ding-dong rang through my head. "Congratulations, player Gu Pingsheng. You have become the bus driver. Gain permissions, bus control and usage rights, trading market, physique amplification by 100%, increased talent probability, and 1 expulsion right per day." Then a burst of golden light flashed before my eyes. "Congratulations on obtaining the S-grade talent. Daily check-in. Today's check-in options. 100 bottles of 500 milliliters Ebao mineral water. 2 20-liter barrels of barreled water." I picked option 1 without hesitation. Any fool knows 100 bottles beat 80 liters, and they're easier to share. I got an S-grade talent. Liu Xiaofang, the league branch secretary, was the first to stand up. The black qipao outlined her sexy figure, the teardrop mole at the corner of her eye lifting slightly with excitement. Divine hint. It can perceive danger and resource information. I'm S-rank 2. Li Ruiyao followed, shouting, "Super physique. Initial physical fitness is 10 times that of an ordinary person. A-rank healing art." Life committee member Liu Xiaofang raised her hand. At 1.43 meters tall, even jumping, she couldn't reach my head height. B-rank enlargement. Sports and arts committee member Zhang Kiki pouted, clearly not satisfied. B-rank puppet creation. Science and innovation committee member Chen Tonger pushed up her glasses. I narrowed my eyes. A 1 in 1,000 chance. Yet our class suddenly exploded with 6 talents, 3 of them S-rank. And all of them are class officers. This is definitely not a coincidence. Either the game mechanics favor the management, or our class really is ridiculously lucky. I opened the attribute panel and gave it a scan. Player, Gu Pingsheng, bus driver, physique, 24, original 12 plus 100% boost, agility, 13 stamina, 11 out of 11 spirit, 100 out of 100 talent, S-rank daily check-in skills, none not bad. My habit of exercising in normal times wasn't in vain. My physique was a cut above ordinary people. Li Ruiyao's side was even more exaggerated. With a 10-fold physique boost, she could probably kill an ox with 1 punch right now. Class monitor, take us flying. Liu Xiaofang bounced up again. I took a deep breath, pressed the brake, shifted into gear, and turned the ignition. The bus rumbled to life. Outside the window was an endless expanse of yellow sand, and ahead was only a straight road. The speedometer crept up slowly, with a top speed of 20 kilometers per hour. The alert tone by my ear rang out again. The monsters will start chasing in 24 hours, at an initial speed of 10 kilometers per hour. I did a quick mental calculation. Driving 14 hours a day could cover 280 kilometers. The monsters would run 240 kilometers. That opened a 40-kilometer gap per day. As long as we didn't court death by lingering too long in the early phase, we shouldn't be caught. 2 hours later, the monotonous yellow sand scenery made me drowsy. I rubbed my aching eyes when suddenly, approaching station, Peace Grocery. I slammed on the brakes. "Xiaonan, check this station." Liu Xiaofang closed her eyes, and a few seconds later, her face turned pale. "Station, Hepping convenience store difficulty. Low-medium resources, food, water, Iron ingots warning. 2 ordinary low-tier zombies are hidden inside the store. Being scratched will infect you with the zombie virus. The carriage fell silent. Z-zombies. Someone's voice trembled. That's not scientifically possible. Jessen, are you stupid? The whole class got teleported into a bus, and you're still talking about science. I stood up and scanned everyone. 42 mouths to feed. We need a lot of food and water every day. We have to take this station. Easy for you to say. A harsh voice cut through the air. Huang Ting, the one with the lowest GPA in class who always skipped class, jumped up and pointed right at my nose. You're a guy. Aren't you supposed to protect us? Go take care of the zombies yourself. Then we'll go down and grab the stuff. The air froze for 2 seconds. I almost laughed in disbelief. She'd always made me cover for her when she skipped class, and now she remembered I was a guy? Huang Ting, what the hell are you saying? Li Ruiyao shot to her feet. You want Gu Pingsheng to fight 2 zombies alone? Are you trying to get him killed? Then you go, class monitor. I'm not like you. I don't have some talent backing me up. I'm going, all right. Li Ruiyao's gaze was sharp as a blade. The supplies at the station concern the whole class, and since I have the talent, there's no reason to back down. Zhang Kiki stood up unhurriedly, looking at Huang Ting with a half smile. I'll go too. Only through effort do you get returns. I can't just sit back and enjoy the fruits of others' labor. Count me in. Liu Xiaofang bounced up and raised her hand. If you get bitten, I can heal you. I raised a hand to press for silence. As the class monitor and driver, I'd naturally be the first off the bus. The ones who get off have first claim on the supplies. Only after we've loaded up can those who stayed on board go down. Any objections? Most of the girls acquiesced. In addition to us class committee members, 4 more girls hesitantly stood up. Lin Xiaonan, you stay. I turned to the league branch secretary. Your ability is the core of our intelligence network. You can't take risks. Providing the station information earlier already counts as a contribution. Lin Xiaonan's lips moved slightly, but in the end she nodded gently and sat back down. Huang Ting's face twisted with anger, yet she could find no reason to argue. The few close friends who often skipped class with her also stayed silent, shrinking into their seats. They didn't want to go fight zombies anyway, but they weren't stupid either, so they wouldn't side with Huang Ting. If they treated the only guy like a beast of burden and really pushed Gu Pingsheng to the brink, who would drive? Who would take the lead and scout ahead? I restarted the engine, and the bus slowly pulled up to a low platform by the road. The little shop was dilapidated, with the 5 characters Hepping Grocery on its sign peeling and fading. The wind and sand were strong, rattling against the windows. Arrived at stop, Hepping Grocery, ordinary station. I pressed the door open button. Are you ready? Li Ruiyao stood beside me, her gaze resolute. I'll protect you. We'd grown up together for over a decade, middle school, high school, and college, always in the same class. Of all the girls in the class, she had the closest bond with me. When she snapped back at Huang Ting earlier, this girl was even more agitated than I was. Let's go. I got off the bus first. The moment my feet hit the ground, a gust of wind whipped sand into my face. Behind me, Li Ruiyao, Zhang Kiki, Liu Xiaofang, and 4 other girls got off one after another. 8 people against 2 zombies. Theoretically, not a big problem. The door of the small shop was half open, pitch dark inside. Be careful, I whispered. Li Ruiyao casually picked up a rusty iron pipe from the ground. With her tenfold physique, this thing was like a toy in her hands. I'll go first. As I pushed the door open, a stench of decay hit us in the face. The shelves were toppled over, with wrappers and empty bottles scattered on the floor. In the corner, 2 rotting humanoid creatures were gnawing on something. Hearing the noise, they turned their heads simultaneously. Pale gray eyeballs, bits of flesh hanging from their lips, and low growls coming from their throats. Here they come, I yelled. The first zombie lunged at us. Li Ruiyao sidestepped, swung the iron pipe in a full arc, and smashed it into the zombie's head. Bang! The power of her tenfold physique was no joke. The zombie's head burst open, splattering black blood everywhere. The second one followed right behind. I grabbed a wooden stick next to the shelf and thrust it toward its chest. The zombie staggered back 2 steps, opened its rotten mouth to bite. Get out! Zhang Kiki let out a roar, her body instantly swelling to 3 meters tall. She grabbed the zombie by the calf and slammed it hard onto the ground like a sack of potatoes. Liu Xiaofang followed right behind, planting a foot on the zombie's head. I pulled a knife from my backpack, the standard issue everyone got at the start, and stabbed it in the neck 5 or 6 times until it stopped moving. The fight was over in 3 minutes. Huff, huff. Zhang Kiki returned to normal size, panting heavily. This thing is tougher than expected. Quick, search for supplies. I wiped the blood off my face. On the shelves were compressed biscuits, canned food, and bottled water. In the corner were several unopened cases of mineral water. In the inner room, we also found a few iron ingots, heavy and solid. No idea if they'd come in handy for upgrading the bus later. The 8 of us moved fast, filling up our backpack slots one by one. 10 minutes later, I let out a whistle. Back to the bus. On the bus, the girls who hadn't gotten off were waiting anxiously. Seeing us covered in blood, several of them screamed in fright. It's nothing, just zombie blood. I waved my hand. The first batch of supplies is secured. Anyone who wants to go down for a second round of scavenging can go now, but be quick. We can't afford to stay too long. Huang Ting hesitated for quite a while, but still didn't move. The other girls who hadn't stepped forward earlier, however, seeing that the danger had passed, got up one after another and got off the bus to pick up the leftovers. I leaned back in the driver's seat and pulled up the trading market panel. Trading market, Zone 6. The chat channel was scrolling at breakneck speed. Damn, we've got a gas station, but there are 3 zombies inside. We ran into a pack of mutant wild dogs and lost 2 people. A military lathe. Any brothers here who know machinery? Looks like we're not the only ones in danger. It's only the first day, and we're already being hit with a warning shot. I took a sip of water and looked at the remaining 39 bottles of mineral water and compressed biscuits. With 42 people, these supplies won't last more than a few days. Relying on just one S-rank check-in is far from enough. I need to leverage Li Ruiao's combat advantage as soon as possible and get the scavenging team working in sync. Lin Xunan walked up to me and said in a low voice, "Pingsheng, I just sensed, within a 10-kilometer radius, there are the faint outlines of 3 stations. One of them is marked as highly dangerous." My heart tightened. Got it. Keep monitoring and tell me immediately if anything changes. Understood. She turned back, the hem of her black qipao gently swaying. Outside the window, the yellow sand remained. The bus started again, wobbling onward toward an unknown destination. In the back row, Huang Ting stared at the backs of us class committee members, jealousy almost spilling from her eyes. Why? Why were those class cadres so lucky? Why did Gu Pingsheng have so many girls defending him? Why could Li Ruiao get an S-rank talent while she got nothing? She bit her lip, her nails digging into her palms, and muttered viciously in a voice loud enough only for her close friends to hear. Those class monitors are just putting on airs. They only got talents because of dumb luck. I wish you'd all just die with the zombies. The bus stop above was crude. Besides a sign, there was only a small shop. Gu Pingsheng steeled himself and prepared to lead the girls inside. But just then, Li Ruiao blocked his way. "Pingsheng, let me take the lead. My constitution is a full 90 points. I'm the strongest," Li Ruiao said. So Li Ruiao's initial constitution was 9 points? Gu Pingsheng thought to himself. But at that moment, a slender female classmate came up to Gu Pingsheng. Let me go first. Her name was Liu Xiaofang. Liu Xiaofang hastily explained. Study committee member, class monitor, you both have S-rank talents. What if you get bitten by a zombie? If you die, it would be a huge loss for our entire class. You are the class's hope of surviving in this apocalypse. Although Xiaoxua has a healing talent, that doesn't necessarily mean she can cure the zombie virus, right? Xiaofang. Li Ruiao looked at Liu Xiaofang, who was only a little over 1.6 meters tall. Liu Xiaofang could be considered one of the class's prettiest girls, with neat features and single eyelids. Her looks ranked in the top 10. But she was usually quiet and withdrawn, very gentle, and rarely spoke. Liu Xiaofang's intention was obvious. She would be the scout. Since there were zombies inside and they had no weapons, any struggle would very likely end with her being scratched or bitten by the zombies. Liu Xiaofang stood at the very front, increasing the chances of being scratched or bitten. Don't refuse anymore. If I die, class monitor, study committee member, I hope you can take good care of my twin sister. For now, this is definitely the best way, Liu Xiaofang said sincerely. She and another girl in the class, Liu Xiaoying, were twins. Xiaofang was the older sister, and Xiaoying was the younger. Xiaoying wasn't in the group at the moment. She had originally wanted to go, but Xiaofang had held her back. All right, then I'll leave it to you, Liu Xiaofang. Gu Pingsheng looked at Liu Xiaofang gravely, feeling uneasy. If only today's sign-in reward had been a weapon. Liu Xiaofang nodded, slowly walked to the front of the group, and then pounded heavily on the door of the small shop. Gu Pingsheng also tentatively stomped his feet. There were zombies inside. If they could use sound or other noise to lure the zombies out, that would be best. Otherwise, with the zombies staying hidden, it would be a real hassle. However, the zombies seemed smarter than expected. With no one entering, They simply hid and wouldn't come out. The store was eerily quiet, as if nothing was there. It was useless to remain at a standoff. No amount of noise could lure the zombies out. Helpless, Liu Xiaofang had no choice but to carefully walk in. Li Ruoyao and Gu Pingsheng followed, with Zhang Kiki, Luo Xiaoxue, and the other girls in tow. The inside was a very ordinary convenience store. On the metal shelves were plenty of snacks, and they were basically all food, bread, instant noodles, spicy strips, potato chips, and so on. The shopkeeper's counter, however, was empty. Above, a light bulb on the ceiling gave off a yellow glow. But just as Liu Xiaofang stepped in, two roars rang out from beside the shelves. Roar! Roar! Two twisted figures knocked over many items and charged out, bringing with them a putrid gust of rotting flesh. Zombies. Gu Pingsheng could see very clearly. The zombies' facial features were horrifying. Their murky eyes rolled back in their sockets. Thick drool dripped from their wide-open mouths, and their skin was festering. It was utterly disgusting. Two zombies lunged straight at Liu Xiaofang, the unguarded figure at the very front of the team. Before she could even turn around, she was tackled to the ground. Liu Xiaofang's screams rang out. Immediately, Gu Pingsheng and the others froze in place. Their faces drained of color as their minds went blank. Soon, Gu Pingsheng snapped out of it. Go, everyone! Kill these two zombies. Beside him, Li Ruoyao also reacted. She kicked a zombie in the head, and in the next moment, its rotten head burst open. Gu Pingsheng had no time to be astonished by Li Ruoyao's strength. He hurriedly kicked another zombie in the neck. The head and neck seemed to be the zombie's weak points. Zhang Kiki also immediately activated her giantification talent. Her form changed from a 1.6-meter girl into a little giant, and she quickly kicked away the zombie that was still biting Liu Xiaofang. Then she shoved over a shelf, which collapsed and pressed down directly onto the lower half of the zombie's body. After giantification, Zhang Kiki's physique was probably around 30 points. That big kick wasn't as damaging as Li Ruoyao's, and it didn't kill the zombie outright. The zombie was pinned under the shelf, twitching constantly. Gu Pingsheng and the other girls rushed forward and stamped on the zombie's head and other parts. Before long, the zombie was trampled to death. Everyone was panting. Soon, Gu Pingsheng helped Liu Xiaofang up. At this moment, Liu Xiaofang was breathing out more than she breathed in. Her head was propped up by Gu Pingsheng's legs. Let me do it. Luo Xiaoxue knelt down, placed her hands on Liu Xiaofang, and a green glow enveloped Liu Xiaofang's entire body. Squad leader, am I going to die? Liu Xiaofang said weakly, her face pale. Don't joke around. Xiaoxue's talent is A rank, you'll be fine. Gu Pingsheng quickly comforted her. The other girls watched Liu Xiaofang in silence. Even Li Ruoyao felt heartbroken, because she knew that even with her strong physique, she might not have reacted in time. Those two zombies were too disgusting, hiding in the dark and ambushing people. Moreover, just now we couldn't attract their attention at the door. Someone had to go inside before they would come out. Even Li Ruoyao might not necessarily be able to react in time. Class monitor, I've always wanted to tell you that. Actually, I like you. At that moment, Liu Xiaofang suddenly confessed to Gu Pingsheng. Gu Pingsheng was stunned, and the girl beside him was also stunned. Wait, is this really the time for a confession? Well, thank you for liking me, Xiaofang. Gu Pingsheng hadn't expected that this quiet little beauty in the class would actually have a crush on him. No wonder in class, besides Li Ruoyao beside him, he would often see Liu Xiaofang on the other side, or at the desk in front or behind. Li Ruoyao bit her lip lightly, lost in thought. Luo Xiaoxue's mouth twitched. She had already figured it out. The zombie virus and such had been cleansed by her, leaving only some superficial wounds and the bite mark on the neck. Liu Xiaofang wasn't going to die at all. Soon, believing she had successfully confessed with no regrets, she closed her eyes slightly and lay contentedly on Gu Pingsheng's lap. It wouldn't be so bad to die in the arms of the boy she liked. At least, she had protected him. But soon, Liu Xiaofang realized she wasn't dead. Her wound no longer hurt, and her head, which had been dizzy from the zombie virus, was no longer spinning. Liu Xiaofang. She was extremely embarrassed. Was Luo Xiaoxue's healing technique really that powerful? Damn, I shouldn't have confessed, Liu Xiaofang thought. She should be healed by now, right? Why isn't Xiaofang waking up? Luo Xiaoxue scratched her head and said. Liu Xiaofang could only open her eyes awkwardly. I'll help you up, Xiaofang. As if nothing had just happened, Gu Pingsheng helped Liu Xiaofang up. Liu Xiaofang's flushed, pretty face was like a ripe peach at that moment. Everyone, hurry up and scavenge supplies. This shop has quite a lot. Take as much water as possible, along with high-energy density foods like bread, cakes, Snickers, and so on. Gu Pingsheng hurriedly called out. Hearing this, the other girls snapped out of it, as if waking from a dream, and quickly went to scavenge. Liu Xiaofang also ran off shyly, her face red, to grab supplies. She hadn't expected herself to be so bold. After all, she couldn't even bring herself to talk to Gu Pingsheng. She might as well be dead. Help! Shit! Liu Xiaofang's hand holding the bread was trembling slightly. Beside her, Li Ruiyao was glancing at Liu Xiaofang in a seemingly indifferent way, no one knowing what she was thinking. Zhang Kiki and Luo Xiaoxue exchanged a glance, both with strange looks in their eyes. In the class, who didn't know that Gu Pingsheng and Li Ruiyao, the class monitor and the study committee member, got along well? Although they weren't a couple, that didn't stop the other girls in the class from shipping them. Now another confession had appeared. There was a good show to watch. Lin Xionan's talent, Divine Hint, had told her as much. After learning the zombie crisis was resolved, she too came to the store. No one had any objections. After all, they'd still need to rely on Lin Xionan's talent in the future. Gu Pingsheng made a beeline for the drink cooler. Without a doubt, what was the most important thing? Nothing but water. People could go without food, but absolutely not without water. Naturally, Gu Pingsheng needed to take the most valuable items. The drink cooler had double doors, with about 200 bottles of water inside. Many of them were 1-liter or 2-liter bottles. Gu Pingsheng's eyes were sharp and his hands quick, grabbing them one by one. Seeing his moves, quite a few girls also came over to get water. Because there were quite a few people around the drink cooler, Li Ruiyao didn't crowd in. Instead, she was looking at the shelves with bread, cakes, instant noodles, and self-heating rice box meals. Not getting water wasn't a big deal. At worst, she could just trade with Gu Pingsheng later. But just then, a sneaky figure suddenly slipped in. Zhang Kiki was the closest. Her face turned cold at the sight. She quickly grabbed the figure by the arm and said, Huang Ting, the class monitor said that those who got off first get to scavenge first, and only after they're fully stocked does it get to you all. The girl who had gotten off the bus was none other than Huang Ting. Huang Ting yelled, Zhang Kiki, why are you so stingy? There's so much supplies here. What's the harm in letting me scavenge some? This is a convenience store. The others also stopped scavenging. Gu Pingsheng stared coldly at Huang Ting and said, Please leave. Go back to the bus. Wait until we've finished scavenging. Then it'll be your turn. Then it won't be enough, squad leader. Are you going to stand by and watch me starve to death? That's your problem. Li Ruiyao snapped. Get out. She pushed Huang Ting out. Huang Ting shot a few venomous glances at the crowd, then returned to the bus. Inside, many female classmates looked at Huang Ting as if she were a clown. Most of them were timid, but they still followed the rules. At worst, they would just scavenge fewer supplies. Soon, all 5 drink coolers were stripped clean. Each drink cooler had roughly more than 200 bottles. There were many kinds of drinks, and Gu Pingsheng deliberately chose water, cola, Sprite, and the like, as well as iced black tea. In short, Gu Pingsheng tried his best to choose popular drinks. One slot could only hold one type of item. By now, Gu Pingsheng had filled 200 bottles of 500 milliliters Cestbon mineral water, 100 bottles of 500 milliliters Nongfu Spring, 100 bottles of 500 milliliters cola, 30 bottles of 1.5-liter cola, 100 bottles of Sprite, 100 bottles of iced black tea, and 56 bottles of 2-liter Nongfu Spring. These took up 8 slots in total. Although the 1-liter and 2-liter containers couldn't fill their slots completely due to insufficient quantity, Gu Pingsheng knew they were more valuable. There was also a compressed biscuit. Gu Pingsheng simply put it in his pocket. Now he had 2 slots left to fill with food. Soon, he went to pick out cup noodles. He chose 100 cups of braised beef noodles. Unfortunately, he had originally hoped to see if he could pack them by the box as a unit. In that case, one slot could hold 100 boxes. But it didn't work. Inside, the braised beef noodle cups counted as a unit. Come to think of it, that made sense. If this were possible, then he might as well just put the 5 beverage cabinets into the slots. As for the last slot, traditional old-fashioned bread, the volume was large. It should be packable, but there wasn't much left, and once one type of bread was packed, he couldn't pack a second. How about way-long spicy strips? No, although there were many strips, they were too small. Chips were also a no-go, they weren't filling enough. In the end, Gu Pingsheng chose canned food. He saw on a shelf in the corner quite a few Ganju brand classic days, with fermented black bean cans. Not only do they have a long shelf life, but they taste good and provide protein. The only downside is that they're a bit salty if you don't eat them with rice. Still, salty is good, it helps replenish salt. Gu Pingsheng quickly grabbed the cans. The little shop mainly sold snacks like bread, cakes, chips, spicy strips, and biscuits. As for compressed biscuits, there were none at all. If it weren't for that, Gu Pingsheng wouldn't have thrown away that compressed biscuit to free up a grid slot. Soon, Gu Pingsheng filled all his slots with 100 fish cans. He should have reached the limit, right? But there were still plenty of cans. Gu Pingsheng looked around and saw Liu Xiaofang beside him, continuously grabbing small bags of chips while looking around. With a little expression as if afraid someone would notice and snatch them away, Gu Pingsheng was speechless. Hey, big sister, you were among the first to scavenge, and this is all you grabbed? Xiaoxua, Gu Pingsheng called out. Liu Xiaofang shrank her neck. Class monitor, don't steal my chips. You should take the cans, there are still plenty here. No, I like eating chips. Liu Xiaofang said stubbornly. Let me do it. If she won't eat, I will. Seeing this, Zhang Kiki hurried over to grab a can. Li Ruoyao also ran over to take some. There were still quite a few cans of luncheon meat here. Gu Pingsheng couldn't be bothered to deal with the little girl. After all, she had a healing ability. He definitely couldn't let her go hungry. If she wanted chips, so be it. After Gu Pingsheng had filled his personal backpack, he came to the front counter. There were plenty of things there too, including cigarettes of various brands, Zhonghua, Huangdalu, as well as some condoms, lighters, and so on. Gu Pingsheng took a few packs of Zhonghua and over a dozen lighters. After everyone had looted everything clean, since their backpack slots were all full, they were left holding large and small bags in their hands. For example, Gu Pingsheng was holding 3 boxes of old-fashioned bread, 2 bags of salt, and 3 bags of sugar in his arms. In his pockets were the lighters he'd scavenged from the counter, along with a few packs of cigarettes. Li Royale had many cans in her hands that wouldn't fit in her backpack, and her pockets were stuffed full. Who knew what was in them? Zhang Qi's pockets were all Snickers bars. For what couldn't fit, she also secretly stuffed it into her bra or other clothes. Liu Xiaofang was carrying 2 3-liter bottles of water, and there were 2 bottles of soda in the hood behind her. Liu Xiaoxua's pockets and hands were stuffed with crispy instant noodles, puffed corn snacks, and small packs of chips. Everyone looked at Liu Xiaoxua with strange looks. What a wasted opportunity. Everything she had just grabbed seemed to be puffed snacks that weren't filling and could easily give you mouth ulcers, right? Gu Pingsheng shouted to the classmates on the bus. We've looted it all. There's no danger in the shop anymore. There are probably still more than half the supplies inside. You all come down. The shop was still quite large. Apart from the drink fridge being emptied, there were still many snacks inside. Hearing Gu Pingsheng's words, Huang Ting and a few others stood at the bus door and immediately rushed out, charging into the shop. The other girls also poured out in a swarm. Once all the girls had gotten off, Gu Pingsheng and the others returned to the bus. The driver's seat was quite spacious. Gu Pingsheng placed the 3 boxes of old-fashioned bread that couldn't fit into his backpack, along with salt and sugar, in the footwell in front of the driver's seat. Li Royale was right in front of the door, so it wasn't convenient to set things down there. She planned to put the supplies in her hands under Gu Pingsheng's driver's seat. Royale, what supplies did you pick? Gu Pingsheng asked. He had just seen that she had lingered in the bread and cake section for a long time, and probably grabbed quite a lot of supplies. Humph. Li Royale felt a bit uncomfortable and turned her head away. Gu Pingsheng. He didn't know why Li Royale was angry. What's wrong with you, Royale? Gu Pingsheng asked. Just now Xiaofang confessed to you. You seemed really happy about it. Li Royale turned her head back, looking at Gu Pingsheng with bright, intent eyes, and said softly. Gu Pingsheng secretly glanced at the second row. Liu Xiaofang was still in a daze at the moment. When she noticed Gu Pingsheng's gaze, she lowered her head even more, not daring to speak, and even gave a slight shiver. I didn't expect Xiaofang to like me either. Usually, I don't really have any interaction with her. Gu Pingsheng scratched his nose and said. Li Royale's mood improved a bit then. By the way, why do you care? It's not like she confessed to you. Gu Pingsheng asked curiously. Who cares? Scram, scram, scram. Li Royale's mood had just improved, and now it soured again. What do you mean she didn't confess to me? What a hopelessly dense straight guy. Oh, that's fine then. Gu Pingsheng said flatly. Li Royale choked, nearly dying from anger at Gu Pingsheng. But then she thought again. She really had no right to be angry. Maybe before transmigrating, she could throw a little tantrum and make Gu Pingsheng guess what was wrong. But now, 41 girls, 1 guy, 2 mini wolves, and 2 little meat. What if another girl snatched Gu Pingsheng first? Wouldn't that be a disaster? She shook her head. Why am I thinking about this now? On my end, I have 5 slots of bread, 2 slots of canned food, 1 slot of instant noodles, 1 slot of self-heating rice, and 1 slot of dried pork slices. Li Royale hesitated for a moment. Can I trade some water with you later? Of course, no problem. I mainly grabbed water just now, and you grabbed food. We complement each other. Gu Pingsheng naturally agreed. He had a good relationship with Li Royale because his parents were on business trips abroad all year round. So since the beginning of junior high school, Gu Pingsheng had always been looked after by Li Royale's aunt, Lin Zi, and he owed Aunt Lin and Royale a great deal. All right, thank you, Pingsheng, the class monitor said. Lin Xunan leaned in and said, those shells are actually pretty useful. Based on the prompt, their composition is ordinary quality iron ingots. Maybe after the classmates finish grabbing the food, we can decompose the shells to get iron ingots. Decompose? Gu Pingsheng quickly pulled up the bus panel. Bus panel, name, none. Bus no, 15200. Level, 1. Quality, ordinary low grade. Raising the level or modifying can improve the bus quality. Member count, 42. Speed, 20 kilometers per hour. Durability, 10 out of 10. Upgrade conditions, ordinary quality wood times 100, ordinary quality leather times 20, ordinary quality iron ingots times 10, energy, core times 1. Upgrade rewards, 1. Speed increased to 40 kilometers per hour. 2. Durability increased to 20. 3. Defense slightly increased. 4. Obtain any blueprint times 1. 5. Obtain a feature. Current bus feature, decompose. Note, the level 1 bus provides the decompose feature, which can break down large materials into basic materials. For example, an ordinary grade table can be broken down into wood. Gu Pingsheng was dazzled by what he saw. Ordinary quality, upgrade, decompose. Lin Xunan, what quality are the zombies? I remember it's probably ordinary low-grade quality. Lin Xunan said. I see. Thank you for reminding me. Gu Pingsheng certainly couldn't let the iron ingots go. He knew how important the bus's level was. The higher the level, the safer it certainly would be. Soon, the female classmates all came to scavenge supplies one after another. Some were elated, while others were dejected, having failed to grab the supplies they wanted. Ugh, there's not even a bottle of water left. I'm so thirsty. How annoying. Those class committee members who scavenged first didn't leave a single bottle of water. Getting annoyed is useless. Who told us not to go down right away? There were only 2 zombies. Sigh, I should have gone down. I regret it. I'll just trade other supplies later. No choice. Don't say that. Those 2 zombies were pretty scary, covered in blood. My shoe even stepped on some. It's so disgusting. Gu Pingsheng naturally overheard the complaints. However, he felt he had been fair enough. If people like Huang Ting were still dissatisfied with him, there was nothing he could do. As he always said, Gu Pingsheng couldn't please everyone. Soon, after everyone had trickled back onto the bus, Gu Pingsheng and Li Royale didn't idle around. They returned to the small shop to move the iron racks. Gu Pingsheng strained with all his might, barely managing to wrap both arms around one rack and move it. And that was with his double stat bonus. Yet Li Royale simply lifted one with a single hand and hoisted it onto her shoulder. What a contrast. All he could say was that she truly lived up to her tenfold physique. Monitor, study committee member, what are you two doing? Liu Xiaofang asked curiously. Seeing the classmates' confusion, Gu Pingsheng briefly explained the importance of the bus. Soon, some girls heard about it and ran down to help carry things. Among them were Liu Xiaofang and Liu Xiaoying. The few girls from the first batch also took the initiative to come down together and help move the iron racks. There were also some new arrivals who came down to lend a hand. Liu Xiaofang had wanted to trot down after them, but Gu Pingsheng stopped her. This little thing didn't have any strength at all. He asked around. Her physique seemed to be only 3. There was no way she could carry it. After decomposing all the iron racks, there were exactly 210 iron ingots in total. After placing 10 ingots into the upgrade panel, there were still 200 ingots left, exactly 2 full slots. Which classmate still has 2 empty slots? Could you help me hold some iron ingots? It won't be for nothing. At least 2 bottles of 500 milliliters water as compensation. Many of the girls had just begun to feel tempted when Qin Tonger glanced at Gu Pingsheng, as if she wanted to say something. But then Liu Xiaofang patted Liu Xiaoying on the butt. Xiaoying immediately caught her sister's meaning. Blushing, she shuffled over, though she didn't quite dare to look at Gu Pingsheng, and said in a small voice, I still have 2 empty slots. You can stuff them full with iron ingots. Thank you, Liu Xiaoying. And no need to thank me. It's what I should do. After Xiaoying was filled to the brim, Gu Pingsheng handed her 2 bottles of water. Clutching them, she returned to her seat, her face still red. Watching Xiaoying, who looked so strikingly similar to Xiaofang, Gu Pingsheng instinctively lowered his head and thought, could Liu Xiaofang actually like him? Nah, maybe she's just more shy. And why was he overthinking whether someone liked him anyway? It wasn't like he could just ask her right in front of everyone. This is so cringe. Gu Pingsheng opened the trading market. The trading market was also divided by region, and only drivers could trade in the market. Ordinary players didn't have that permission. Region SIXS trading market probably had only around 2,000 drivers. Gu Pingsheng posted 3 purchase requests: ordinary quality wood, leather, and energy cores. As for his own resources, he had iron ingots, food, and water. After posting, he quietly waited for other drivers to contact him. Soon, after taking care of everything, Gu Pingsheng closed the door, and all the female classmates were back in their seats. He checked the time. It was now 11 a.m. The bus started moving, and from the back came the sound of packaging being torn open. It was almost noon, and many of the female classmates were hungry, so they began to eat. For a moment, the entire bus was filled with the aroma of various snacks. Gu Pingsheng also felt his appetite stir. Seeing this, Liu Xiaofang stood up and walked over to him. Pingsheng, do you need me to help you? Gu Pingsheng had originally intended to stop the bus, but did Liu Xiaofang mean she wanted to feed him? He thought for a moment. It wasn't that he was unaware of Liu Xiaofang's feelings for him, but the two were just too familiar with each other. If anything were to actually happen, Gu Pingsheng would feel a sense of guilt. However, he also found it hard to refuse Liu Xiaofang's kind intentions. Gu Pingsheng nodded, one hand gripping the steering wheel. With the other hand, he took out an old-fashioned bread roll from his backpack, then opened a can of fermented black bean fish, and placed a bottle of cola on the dashboard beside him. There was still plenty of room for things. Gu Pingsheng also thought of the deal he had just made with Liu Xiaofang. He then handed Liu Xiaofang 3 bottles of water. Liu Xiaofang gave Gu Pingsheng 5 packs of self-heating rice as payment for the deal. Isn't this a bit too much? Gu Pingsheng said. Water is worth more than food. Keep it. I can't take advantage of you, so just accept it. Gu Pingsheng had no choice but to accept. Indeed, water was more valuable than food. But this is rice, and it's the kind that turns piping hot just by adding water. I'll give Royale something better later. What do you want to eat? I'll feed you now, Liu Xiaofang said. Then let's open one of the self-heating rice packets you gave me, and help me open a can of fish and a bottle of cola. Skip the bread, Gu Pingsheng replied. It just so happened he was starving as well. After the self-heating rice had heated up, Liu Xiaofang hurriedly fed Gu Pingsheng a mouthful of rice, then a bite of fish, then a sip of cola. She was very careful as she fed Gu Pingsheng, so that the food or cola wouldn't spill on him. The self-heating rice came with its own spoon, which was quite convenient. Watching Gu Pingsheng eat the food she was feeding him, Liu Xiaofang's pretty face flushed slightly for some reason. Ooh, the study committee member and the class monitor are so sweet together. Liu Xiaofang happened to see this and began to tease them. She was sitting in the front row, munching on potato chips while swinging her little feet that couldn't reach the floor. Eating a potato chip, Liu Xiaofang didn't forget to suck on her fingers. With Liu Xiaofang's teasing, the other girls in the first and second rows also started to join in. TSK, as expected of the class monitor and the study committee member. They sit together in class every day, and now they're even feeding each other. Look, the study committee member's face is turning red. Doesn't it feel like the study committee member is like the class monitor's mom? Hearing the teasing from behind, Liu Xiaofang quickly shouted, Pingsheng is driving. It's not easy for him to eat, so I can only feed him. Then why not just stop the bus? Liu Xiaofang tilted her head and yelled. That's right. Liu Xiaofang awkwardly curled her toes inside her shoe. But since I've already fed him, might as well feed him to the end. Moreover, this is better. No time wasted. The bus can keep moving. And Gu Pingsheng really, he didn't even refuse me. Liu Xiaofang saw this scene, feeling very uncomfortable, sour in her heart. She had also scavenged a lot of self-heating rice. If only she had taken the initiative earlier to step forward and ask if he needed to be fed. But with her timid nature, she definitely wouldn't dare to take the initiative. Behind the seat was a fold-down tray, a bit like the ones on high-speed trains. She could only pull down the tray, place the self-heating rice on it, and open it. The aroma of rice wafted out. Xiaoying, our appetites are small, so sharing one portion is enough. Let's save a bit. Liu Xiaoying nodded. Thank you, sister. Behind the two girls, a somewhat burly girl was chewing dry bread, staring at Liu Xiaofang and Liu Xiaoying with envious eyes. Her name was Li Zhen. Li Zhen deeply regretted not going down first. If she had gone down right away, she probably would have gotten better supplies, right? Li Zhen slapped Liu Xiaofang's shoulder hard. Liu Xiaofang turned around, and seeing it was Li Zhen, she quickly shrank her neck in fear. Xiaofang, can you lend me a bowl of self-heating rice? Li Zhen said without any courtesy. Liu Xiaofang and Li Zhen were in the same dorm. Li Zhen was a nasty and shameless person. She often bullied the sisters Liu Xiaofang and Liu Xiaoying, whether intentionally or not. Using their laundry detergent, tissues, body wash, and such was a common occurrence. She often borrowed money from them too, sometimes tens, sometimes hundreds, and never paid it back. By now the amount had piled up to several thousand. Even worse, Li Zhen smoked in the dorm and blew smoke rings at them. But they were too timid. They didn't dare report her to the counselor, so they'd been bullied all along. But now, Liu Xiaofang had just experienced death. She felt that for the boy she liked. She hadn't even feared death, so why should she be afraid of a bully who picked on her? I won't lend it. What did you say? Li Zhen stared at Liu Xiaofang in shock. After all, Liu Xiaofang had never dared to look her in the eye or refuse any demand she made. Now she simply wanted a box of self-heating rice, and Liu Xiaofang actually refused? I said I won't lend it. I don't want to lend you anything anymore. Don't come to me again. Liu Xiaofang gathered her courage and shouted. Soon, the other girls looked over curiously at the two of them. Li Zhen felt she had suffered a great humiliation and lost all face. You damn bastard, I'll tear your face off. Li Zhen had just grabbed Liu Xiaofang's hair. Don't hit my sister. Liu Xiaoying reached out to scratch Li Zhen. I see you're itching for a beating too. The bus suddenly braked. Li Ruiyao put down the self-heating rice in her hand, her expression shifting unpredictably. She hadn't expected that there would be bullying incidents in the class. All along, she had thought that although the class might have small cliques and the atmosphere was not particularly good, such bullying couldn't happen, especially among college students. Gu Pingsheng stood up from the driver's seat, his face grim, and walked over to the two women. Gu Pingsheng, this is none of your business. Liu Xiaofang still owes me money. I want her to pay me back with self-heating rice, but she refuses. You're lying. You owe me and my sister money, and you're trying to steal my food. Liu Xiaofang rubbed her scalp and said angrily. Smack. Gu Pingsheng slapped Li Zhen across the face with considerable force. Li Zhen was stunned. Her face quickly swelled up, and she looked at Gu Pingsheng in disbelief. You actually dared to hit me. If you've got the guts, hit me again. Smack. 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 Gu Pingsheng gave Li Zhen 3 slaps. The scene was very quiet. No one dared to say anything. Even many female classmates gloated as they watched Li Zhen. Quite a few of them had also been bullied by Li Zhen. I've hit you 4 times in total. What do you want to do about it? Li Ruiyao stood beside Gu Pingsheng, looking at Li Zhen as if she were garbage. On campus, poor grades could be criticized and bad test scores could be commented on, but there should be no school bullying. Li Zhen was stunned by the slaps. Why would you stand up for these 2 country bumpkins? Gu Pingsheng said coldly. They are my classmates and my passengers. I'm emphasizing 2 principles. First, no hurting classmates. Second, fairness. Inside the bus, you are not allowed to attack or harm classmates. Nor are you allowed to use any means to seize classmates' supplies. If you want any supplies, go out to the station to find them yourself, or trade with supplies of equal value. If I ever find anyone violating the principles again, then what? Li Zhen raised her chin, unconvinced. Then they will be expelled from the bus. This is the driver's inherent right. You can try touching a single strand of her hair again. Gu Pingsheng's tone was icy cold. Li Zhen met Gu Pingsheng's gaze, filled with chill, and somehow felt a trace of fear in her heart. I understand, she said through gritted teeth, unwillingly. Apologize to her. Gu Pingsheng said coldly. A few seconds later, Li Zhen grudgingly apologized to Liu Xiaofang. Sorry, Liu Xiaofang. I shouldn't have snatched your supplies. I forgive you. From now on, you can't bully me and my sister anymore. Liu Xiaofang said with a sigh of relief. Then she turned her head, her eyes gazing at Gu Pingsheng with infatuation. If it weren't for the class monitor, she would probably have been bullied by Li Zhen all along. Meeting Liu Xiaofang's somewhat fervent gaze, Gu Pingsheng felt a bit afraid to meet her eyes. Hiss, if this goes on, this girl might end up liking him even more. The journey was silent. After lunch, Gu Pingsheng drove the bus steadily along the straight road. Occasionally, Li Ruiyao would chat with Gu Pingsheng to keep him from dozing off. Many of the female classmates leaned back in their seats to rest during the noon break, or lay their heads on the panels behind the front seats to sleep, or they were whispering and chatting. But just then, news came from the trading market. Gu Pingsheng's eyes flickered, and he quickly opened the trading market. When he clicked it open, a driver from the same region had replied below the purchase post. Huang Xiaoya. Hello. I have ordinary quality wood here, and I'd like to purchase some water resources or iron ingots. Gu Pingsheng thought for a moment. He had quite a bit of water, but that didn't mean other buses would happen to pass by stations with resources. Gu Pingsheng replied, "One 500 milliliters bottle of mineral water, or one iron ingot in exchange for 10 pieces of wood." Huang Xiaoya. Why is the price so expensive? Gu Pingsheng. Just take a look at the bus upgrade panel and you'll know. 100 pieces of wood and 10 iron ingots are of equal value. Huang Xiaoya. I'm a female college student. Could you make it a little cheaper? Gu Pingsheng. You couldn't get a discount even if you were a big beast. And she calls herself a female college student? His bus was full of female college students. Huang Xiaoya. After a long while, the other party replied, "I have 120 pieces of wood here. Can we trade for 8 bottles of mineral water and 4 iron ingots?" Sure. Driver Huang Xiaoya requests a trade. Ordinary quality wood times 12500 milliliters mineral water times 8 plus ordinary quality iron ingot times 4. Trade. Trade. After clicking trade, Gu Pingsheng gained 120 wood on his side, although that already exceeded the amount needed for one upgrade, maybe in later upgrades, or if there were other needs for wood. Huang Xiaoya. I want to ask, how did you all obtain resources? Gu Pingsheng. We passed by a small shop station and got them there. There was no need to hide this resource, because besides him, many buses had also passed by stations that were like grocery stores or supermarkets. Huang Xiaoya. All right, thanks. I got mine from opening treasure chests, a total of 700 common quality wood. You guys are really lucky. Although 700 common quality would seem like a lot, in reality, when used to exchange for food and water resources, it wasn't even enough for one bus's daily supply. But he didn't know why Huang Xiaoya wanted to exchange for iron ingots. In Gu Pingsheng's opinion, it would be best to first solve the bus's food and drink problem before considering whether to upgrade the bus. After Gu Pingsheng ended the chat, he put 100 wood on the trading panel. As for the remaining 20 wood, he casually stuffed it into a female classmate's trading slot to exchange for some supplies. Next, perhaps because they had been traveling for half a day, many drivers were hungry, and one by one they traded with Gu Pingsheng. Soon, apart from energy cores, leather was also collected to full capacity. Gu Pingsheng also knew how rare energy cores were, and kept posting purchase requests. Around 4 p.m., a player finally contacted him. After all, it was a trading market with 2,000 or 3,000 people. Li Ming. Brother, I have an energy core here. How much are you offering? Gu Pingsheng. You name a price. Li Ming. 300 bottles of 500 milliliters water, or 500 portions of food. Gu Pingsheng's mouth twitched when he saw the message. Gu Pingsheng, are you kidding? Li Ming, I checked the posts in our area. Aside from me, no other player is selling energy cores. This is key to upgrading the bus. I see you're planning to sell food and water, which must mean you've collected enough supplies on the bus, right? Gu Pingsheng. That's impossible. It's too expensive. Our bus isn't the only one that has collected food and water supplies. Go trade with others. Naturally, Li Ming also went to talk to players on other buses, but they all felt the price was too steep. With no other choice, the two kept haggling back and forth. Half an hour later, Gu Pingsheng finally traded 30 bottles of 500 milliliters water for the energy core. My God, Pingsheng, you really know how to haggle. You actually forced it down from 300 bottles all the way to 30. Li Royale beside him exclaimed, "Tell me about it." Even those 30 bottles of water made my heart ache quite a bit. Still, upgrading the bus will bring in even more resources, and the sooner you upgrade, the further you can pull ahead of the monsters. Overall, it's still worth it. Besides, this item definitely can't be that rare. I think the other party must have realized that too. After all, further along, almost every bus needs upgrades to escape the monster's pursuit. If this item really were that hard to come by, wouldn't it be a death sentence? So, certainly quite a few buses have found this thing, but they don't plan to sell it. Instead, they plan to keep it for upgrading. Gu Pingsheng smiled. In his hand at that moment happened to be a crystal-like object. Energy core, quality, ordinary supreme. An essential item for upgrading buses and other tools. Evaluation, you cannot be without it. In this cruel world, the energy core is extremely important. Gu Pingsheng stopped the bus, and then the last material he needed. He placed the energy core on the bus's upgrade panel. But before upgrading, Gu Pingsheng needed to emphasize one thing. He turned to his classmates and said slowly, "Everyone, I plan to upgrade the bus. The bus is the vehicle that all of us classmates rely on for survival. So, when upgrading the bus, I need each of you to contribute one item of supplies. As I always say, the principle inside the bus is fairness. The supplies each person contributes can be a bottle of water or a piece of food. Now, please place one item of supplies in the empty spot on my driver's console. Of course, having so many resources is also to better trade with other bus drivers when upgrading the bus in the future. Gu Pingsheng's words were recognized by many classmates. Li Ruoyao chimed in from the side. That's right, the bus belongs to everyone. It can't be that upgrading the bus has to use the class monitor's own resources, right? Lin Xiaonan and the other class committee members responded one after another, placing an item of supplies beside Gu Pingsheng's driver's console. Huang Ting and the others were the last to hand theirs in. It seemed they were still unconvinced, but when they met Li Ruoyao's warning gaze, they ultimately gritted their teeth and handed over the resources. Gu Pingsheng put as many of these resources into his backpack as he could. What couldn't fit was temporarily placed in the empty seats of the bus. He could trade for other supplies with the driver later. He felt this approach was actually pretty good. Every time he upgraded the bus, he could collect resources from the classmates once more. It also made the classmates face each station more proactively. Then Gu Pingsheng clicked to upgrade the bus. The next moment, the entire bus suddenly began to shake violently. Most of the female students were startled. Then, the bus, which had been cramped at about 10 meters long and 2.5 meters wide, suddenly became much larger. The distance between seats also widened. At the back, 2 more rows of seats were added, which meant 8 more seats. With the driver and passenger seats, there were now 50 seats in total. Not only that, the entire bus had much more space. Wow, so this is what upgrading the bus is like. Amazing, it's gotten a lot bigger. And there are a lot more seats, too. It's good that it's upgraded. Otherwise, the space inside the bus would be too cramped and uncomfortable. At the same time, a notification sound rang by Gu Pingsheng's ear. Congratulations! Player Gu Pingsheng's bus has been upgraded to level 2. Obtained blueprint, large water condenser blueprint. Unlocked feature, module mall. Large water condenser blueprint. A flash of surprise crossed Gu Pingsheng's eyes. Continuously produce water? This is a great item. Gu Pingsheng glanced at the blueprint description. Large water condenser blueprint. Quality, superior common. Crafting requirements, stone times 100, iron ingot times 100, energy, core times 1. Can condense 20 liters of purified water per day from air vapor. Evaluation, if everyone drinks a little less, it should be enough for a busload of people to barely survive. This large water condenser also requires an energy core. Looks like this thing is really important, just as the evaluation said. Gu Pingsheng scratched his head. Forget it, I'll trade some water for it later. The price of water resources is currently the highest in the trading market. If this large water condenser is built, basic security should be in place. There are quite a few people on the bus. Even if they only drink 500 milliliters a day, they'd still need at least 15 to 20 liters of water per day, just enough for this large water condenser. Of course, a person needs 1 to 2 liters of water per day if they want to live well. At least 3 large water condensers were needed to sustain the survival of a busload of people. Subsequently, Gu Pingsheng put away the blueprint and continued to check the bus panel. He also casually gave the bus a name, Peace. He hoped that he and all the female classmates on the bus would be safe and sound. Bus panel, name, Peace. Bus number, 15200. Level, 2. Quality, common low grade. Raising the level or modifying the bus can improve the bus quality. Member count, 42. Speed, 40 kilometers per hour. Durability, 20/20ths. Upgrade conditions, common wood times 200, common leather times 50, common iron ingot times 20, energy core times 2. Upgrade rewards. 1. Speed increases to 60 kilometers per hour. 2. Durability increases to 30. 3. Defense slightly increases. 4. Obtain any blueprint times 1. 5. Obtain 1 function. Current bus functions. Decomposition, module mall. Decomposition can decompose large items into basic materials, such as decomposing a common grade table into wood. Module mall. You can purchase bus modules in the module mall, and bus modules can modify the bus. Just then, the notification sound appeared. Regional broadcast. Player Gu Pingsheng is the first driver in Zone 6 to upgrade a bus. Reward. Player Gu Pingsheng receives a random skill times 1 and 5 free attribute points. Player Gu Pingsheng. The skill you obtained is Skyward Slash. Skill, Skyward Slash. Quality, ordinary mid-grade. Creates a sharp and agile slash. It can deal effective damage to creatures of ordinary mid-grade quality or below, and the higher your constitution, the higher the damage dealt. Cooldown, 2 minutes. It seems skill damage is related to two aspects, the skill's quality, and apart from that, one's own constitution. Gu Pingsheng did not hesitate and put all his attribute points into constitution. Thanks to his identity as a bus driver, Gu Pingsheng's constitution bonus is also doubled. After adding them, his base constitution reached 17 points. With the bonus, it becomes 34 points. He was delighted. This was more than 3 times an ordinary man's constitution. With this constitution, using Skyward Slash, even against monsters of ordinary high-grade quality, he should be able to deal considerable damage. Gu Pingsheng let out a sigh of relief. He finally had a means of attack. Gu Pingsheng carefully reviewed today's gains. First, there was the large amount of supplies in the convenience store. Although these were mostly snacks, they'd be enough for the classmates to stretch over several days if they rationed carefully. Moreover, for herself and a few class committee members, with their more abundant supplies, if they scrimped and saved, they could probably last about a month without issue. Especially Li Ruiao's self-heating rice, nearly 100 servings. Next were the blueprints and skills gained from upgrading the bus. As for the module mall, Gu Pingsheng curiously clicked on the bus module mall. Bus module mall, toilet. Quality, common. Price, 10 bus coins. Can be installed in vacant space inside the bus. Bedroom. Quality, common. Price, 20 bus coins. Can install a bedroom in vacant space inside the bus. Seat. Quality, common. Price, 5 bus coins. Install an additional seat. Basic, wear-resistant bus cover. Quality, black iron. Price, 50 bus coins. Gu Pingsheng hadn't expected the module mall to be like this. You could even install bedrooms, toilets, bus covers, and so on. Looking at it, the modules inside were dazzlingly varied. All were items to enhance the bus. But the important thing was, Gu Pingsheng had no bus coins. This should be the currency used in this world. Just then, Chen Tonger, the class's tech committee member, suddenly walked to the front. She was only slightly taller than Liu Xiaofang, the class's life committee member, measuring about 1.5 meters or so. However, her chest was indeed quite full, giving off a bit of a baby face with huge vibe. Yet, her temper was just as big as her chest. She wasn't easy to provoke normally, and because of her bad temper, she didn't have many friends in the class. Poke, poke. Chen Tonger poked Gu Pingsheng's shoulder with her finger. What's up, Chen Tong? Gu Pingsheng asked. Turning around, perhaps due to his built-in auto-aim, he couldn't help but glance at her chest. Whoa, that's on par with Lin Xiaonan, Gu Pingsheng thought subconsciously. Monitor, can you lend me 20 pieces of wood and 50 iron ingots? Chen Tonger asked a bit sheepishly, because 20 pieces of wood and 50 iron ingots weren't cheap. Are you trying to make a golem? Gu Pingsheng asked curiously. Chen Tonger nodded. Yes, monitor. What are you offering in exchange? Gu Pingsheng asked. 3 packets of self-heating hot pot, 13 compressed biscuits, and 7 little raincoats. Gu Pingsheng fell silent. Why would Chen Tonger need little raincoats? Hearing this, Li Ruiao instinctively glanced at her own pocket, her fair, long legs shifting awkwardly. I'm not short on these resources. I can lend you some, but the puppets you make have to help scout the way ahead. Can you do that? Of course, monitor. That was exactly my idea for making puppets. If only we'd had a puppet walking ahead back at the Peace Grocery, we might not have suffered so much. Chen Tonger patted her chest, looking completely confident. His gaze twitched again. He couldn't help it. It was simply beyond his control. Chen Tonger's lowly face and mature figure really created a striking contrast. Gu Pingsheng told Chen Tonger to go get some resources from Liu Xiaofang and the other girl. According to Chen Tonger, the puppet she made was an iron puppet. Her constitution was the same as his own. Chen Tonger's was 8 points. By evening, the sky gradually darkened, and the setting sun slowly descended right ahead of the bus. If judged by common sense on Blue Star, the bus was heading west all along. However, this was a different world now, so it didn't necessarily conform to Blue Star's common sense. Gu Pingsheng had just eaten dinner as well, still fed by Li Ruiao. Night has fallen. Drivers, please drive with caution. A chime sounded by his ear. Gu Pingsheng grew a bit worried. What did drive with caution mean? Then, he suddenly saw a figure blocking the road up ahead. As the bus approached, he realized it was a zombie. Its body was bloody, with pale, wrinkled skin, much like the one seen earlier in the convenience store. There were actually zombies on the road. Gu Pingsheng's heart sank. He tried to steer around the zombie, but the moment it saw the bus, it let out a roar and lunged forward. A bang sounded as it was knocked down by the bus, then run over. From behind came several girls' screams. It's a zombie. Help. Something like this actually appears at night. So scary. I miss my mom. Yeah. I don't know how mom and dad are doing. Oh. Many girls were feeling low, and some even started sobbing. At the same time, as night fell, a number of zombies appeared around the bus as if they had just spawned. Upon spotting the bus, they all chased after it. Roar, roar. Roar, they howled as they tried to stop the bus in its tracks. The night was fraught with danger. Forget about getting off the bus. It couldn't stop for even a moment now. These zombies are all of ordinary low-grade quality. Liu Xiaofang said seriously. And there are quite a lot of them, constantly spawning. Class monitor, you might need to drive through the night as well. The corner of Gu Pingsheng's mouth twitched. He had already been driving all day, and now he had to drive at night? I'll take over for a while. Li Ruoyao looked at Gu Pingsheng with some concern. I recall earlier it said the bus's usage permission is limited to the driver. Gu Pingsheng didn't know if it was possible. The driver can share driving permission. Players who share driving permission can temporarily drive the bus. Those who do not share driving permission cannot drive the bus. Seeing that he could drive, Gu Pingsheng's eyes lit up. Count me in, Liu Xiaofang said. I'm the Youth League branch secretary after all. Then Liu Xiaofang also leaned in curiously. Class monitor, study committee member, I want to drive too. Count me in. Li Ruoyao glanced at Liu Xiaofang's height. Gu Pingsheng glanced at the seat height. Liu Xiaofang then glanced at the height of the bus's windshield. The three exchanged glances, not knowing what to say. Hey, why aren't you all saying anything? I'm a class committee member too. I need to make contributions. Zhang Kiki walked up behind Liu Xiaofang and patted her on the butt. Liu Xiaofang quickly turned around, covering her rear. Pervert. Sex maniac. Zhang Kiki retorted. Xiaofang, forget it. You're just a little squirt. Not only can your feet not reach the pedals, you can't even see the road from the driver's seat. If you sat there, wouldn't that be driverless driving? Liu Xiaofang felt deeply humiliated. Furious, she returned to her seat, took out a bag of crispy noodles, and kept stuffing them into her mouth. Xiaofang, it's okay. You have a healing talent. Just leave the driving to the rest of us class committee members. From now on, the job of healing injuries will be yours. Gu Pingsheng comforted Liu Xiaofang. Only then did she start to feel better. After discussing for a while, Gu Pingsheng handed over the driving permissions to Li Ruoyao, Liu Xiaofang, Zhang Kiki, and also Liu Xiaofang. Liu Xiaoying was pretty good too. Liu Xiaofang and Liu Xiaoying volunteered to help Gu Pingsheng, and he didn't mind. As for the other two class committee members, Liu Xiaofang and Qin Tong'er were too short to drive. There were 6 people in total, each driving 4 hours a day. Li Ruoyao quickly took over the driver's seat. Gu Pingsheng thought of something and said, Everyone, whatever you do, don't stall the engine while driving. Hearing the words, stall the engine, the other girls fell silent. They remembered the rule from when they first crossed over this morning. If the engine stalled and they didn't get off the bus within 2 minutes, they would surely die. Undoubtedly, something terrifying would happen inside the bus once it stalled. Every morning at 7 o'clock was the exact time the bus stalled. Now there were still a little more than 12 hours until 7 in the morning. Along the way, Li Ruoyao drove the Dayun, constantly ramming the zombies blocking the road. Gu Pingsheng also sat in the driver's seat and rested well. Driver, Gu Pingsheng. The bus's durability has dropped to 19 points, currently 1920. You can use common-grade iron ingots, wood, or leather to repair the bus. 1 iron ingot, or 10 wood, or 5 leather repairs 1 point of durability. The resources needed to repair the bus are related to the basic resources required for upgrading the bus. A grave look flashed through Gu Pingsheng's eyes. He really hadn't expected that basic resources could have this kind of use. In that case, perhaps 1 iron ingot was worth more than a bottle of water. He quickly used an iron ingot to repair the bus. Then he told the girl driving the bus to be careful, emphasizing the importance of durability. But if it was truly impossible to dodge, then just ramming into them was fine. The importance of upgrading the bus had increased again. In the dead of night, Li Ruoyao drove the bus, constantly ramming the zombies on the road. Thud, thud, thud. The sounds came without pause. Durability didn't drop easily. After all, most buses were only level 1. If durability really dropped that easily, those buses with only 10 durability points might not even survive a single night. This was a survival game, not a game of certain death. Gu Pingsheng opened the chat channel to see how everyone was doing. Zombies everywhere. It's really terrifying. We've already lost 2 durability points so far, and I don't know how many will be left by tomorrow morning. Probably 1 point every 3 hours, so there should be around 5.6 points left by tomorrow morning. We have to collect materials tomorrow. If we don't collect materials to repair the bus, then we're definitely dead on the second night. There's yellow sand everywhere. How are we supposed to collect materials? I think they're only in the stations. We went through an abandoned factory. We've salvaged at least 600 iron ingots. If anyone needs iron ingots, they can trade with my driver. Everyone, make sure you're awake before 7 a.m. tomorrow. Don't forget what the rules said about stalling. Once the bus stalls, you have to get off within 120 seconds. Might as well get off at 6:50. Good thing the stall time is fixed. Hiss. I don't know when the zombies will disappear. We have to make sure they're gone before getting off. Otherwise, wouldn't getting off just be delivering takeout to the zombies? Makes sense. I reckon around 6 something, after the sun comes out, the zombies will disappear. After all, this is just a nighttime event. Running over these zombies is pretty fun, plowing through them with the bus dot. Upstairs, be careful. Watch out for your durability dropping too fast. No problem, my talent is B-level durability repair, and I can fix the bus's durability dot. Gu Pingsheng turned off the chat channel. He was a bit sleepy too, so he decided to doze off in the passenger seat for a while. Although the passenger seat was hard, and there was no board in front to lie down on, this was the only way to sleep for now, right? According to the bus driving schedule. Next up would be Liu Xiaofang, Zhang Kiki, Liu Xiaoying, and Lin Xiaonan. At 1 a.m., it would be Liu Xiaofang's turn. Then at 5, Zhang Kiki's turn. Gu Pingsheng reminded Zhang Kiki to remember to pull over at 6:50. Then he told everyone to get out of the car in advance, but not to turn off the engine, just shift into neutral. Of course, they had to drive to a safe place first. Another thing, fuel. There was still about 70% left. It was rather fuel efficient. They had been driving for an entire day. At this rate, a full tank of gas would last about 2 days. Tomorrow they would have to find fuel. Soon, Gu Pingsheng fell into a drowsy sleep. At exactly 6 in the morning, Gu Pingsheng was woken up by his talent. Check-in day 2. Reward 1. Backpack slots increased from 10 to 50. Reward 2. 3 random ordinary quality weapons. Reward 3. 100 bottles of 680 milliliters sugar-free cola. Reward 4. A roast goose. Gu Pingsheng did not sleep well last night. Now it was Zhang Kiki's turn to drive. Zhang Kiki drove relatively steadily, and whenever there were zombies on the road, she would try to steer around them as much as possible. After all, at this time, many classmates were resting. Zhang Kiki's eyes were bloodshot because before the transmigration, her sleep schedule had generally been quite good. Having stayed up the whole night, he felt a bit uncomfortable. You're awake? Squad leader. Zhang Kiki noticed Gu Pingsheng's movement. Gu Pingsheng nodded. He yawned, then prepared to claim the rewards. First, he ruled out rewards 3 and 4. The sugar-free cola for reward 3 was not even as good as water, perhaps before the transmigration. Sugar-free cola had a larger audience, especially among those managing their figures, but in this survival world, sugar was very important. As for reward 4, it was just 1 roasted goose. There was no need to choose it. Although Gu Pingsheng liked roasted goose, at most he could eat it for 2 or 3 meals, far inferior to the value of 10 bottles of water. As for the first 2 rewards, they really made Gu Pingsheng hesitate. One was an extra 40 backpack slots, and the other was 3 common quality weapons. After thinking it over, backpack slots should be considered a relatively rare reward. At the very least, if he had this many slots yesterday, he definitely could have collected more resources. Gu Pingsheng no longer hesitated. In the end, he chose reward 1, backpack slots. After the selection was successful, Gu Pingsheng's personal backpack reached 50 slots. Immediately after, he stored away a large pile of supplies that had been placed in the driver's dashboard. Afterward, about half an hour later, Gu Pingsheng woke up the classmates one by one. It was almost time for the bus to shut down. He roused the girls in the front rows one after another. Then it was Liu Xiaofang's turn. Having just finished driving for 4 hours, Liu Xiaofang was smacking her lips, sleeping soundly. Whimper. Class monitor. Could you suckle a little? Gu Pingsheng was stunned. Liu Xiaoying, who had just been woken up, stared with wide eyes. Big sis talked in her sleep, and the class monitor heard it. What to do? Whatever, at least it's my sister who's embarrassed, not me. Gu Pingsheng knocked on the partition, waking Liu Xiaofang. Liu Xiaofang woke up in a confused daze, looking at Gu Pingsheng, whose expression was strange, as if he wanted to say something but held back. Class monitor, good morning. She quickly greeted him. Thinking of the scene in her dream just now, Liu Xiaofang couldn't help feeling a little regretful. She had been interrupted right at the critical moment. But since it was the class monitor who interrupted, she'd forgive him. Good morning to you too. Gu Pingsheng replied awkwardly, then immediately asked the students to wake up the classmates beside them. After everyone was up, the sun gradually rose. The zombies on the highway disappeared one by one under the sunlight. Whether they had despawned or vanished for some other reason, no one could tell. At 6:50, Zhang Kiki pulled the bus over to the side of the road. Gu Pingsheng called for all the students to get off. The early morning wind was still quite cold. Besides, it had been summer when they crossed over. Apart from a few girls who were sensitive to the cold and had worn jackets, everyone else was in thin clothing. Even Gu Pingsheng couldn't help but shiver.